Oh, hello, and welcome to this beautiful Wednesday, uh, March 19th, 2025. This is Updog Sports Talk, and today is the day for the most vasectomies throughout the year. Justin, you didn't get a vasectomy, but you are here with me.
What a fact.
Yeah,
Oh my.
Yeah, I found that one out. So most men get a vasectomy today so they can watch the tournament.
Oh my, that is hilarious. Now, I'm surprised today is the day. Like, I would try to at least get it like one more day ahead so that you're like at least a little more comfortable on Thursday because man, the that opening Thursday of March Madness is just absolutely glorious. And
Yeah.
overall, this whole tournament is just it's one of the best events of the year. Like it brings you stories that you don't see in any other sport. It brings you the upset, something that just doesn't happen in other sports. Other sports don't have the ability for upsets like this to even happen, or there's like college football where the talent differences and the number of people is just too different. College basketball is that perfect sport where just the right amount of weird things can happen that can completely change how a season goes. They're shooting an orange ball into a pretty small hoop and, figuring out there's not as many people on the court, so the talent difference is not as much of a factor. It's just, you put 68 teams in this thing, and this is a beautiful combination.
Yeah, it's the most wonderful time of the year for sports. Um Nobody does any work for the next couple of days, except for I already know that I have a bunch of meetings, so I guess I have to work.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Matt. I'm sure I do too. But at the very least, it will be quietly on my TV while it's going, like it is right now.
Thank God for the quad box on the mobile app for YouTube TV because that'll come in handy. I will yell at everybody to not talk during basketball games.
Absolutely. So we are going to be tonight. We are going to pick our bracket. We are doing a joint bracket that will be entering in a lot of different competitions. I think we're in like 11 different bracket pools at this point, but we'll be doing this bracket live. We are going to argue. We are going to disagree on all sorts of picks, but have fun doing it. Provide some fun facts about teams that you may not know, and just we're gonna have fun with this thing.
Yeah,
So
let's jump right in.
Matt, go ahead and introduce who we are first, and then
Okay,
we'll get
well,
into
yeah.
it.
We are Updog Sports Talk. We developed this show in order to stick up for the 16 seeds of the world. We don't want to just focus on the one seeds. In fact, Justin, do you have any stats on when the last time a one seed won the tournament?
When the one seed won, last
The
was the
whole thing?
champion.
Yeah.
That would be UConn last year.
Okay. Well, never mind. It doesn't happen as often as you'd think. But we represent the 16 seeds in the world, the top overall NFL draft picks, those teams of the world. We don't just focus on the top, we focus on the bottom as well. Try to give an even perspective of everything and um, sit back, relax, and we are Up Dog Sports Talk.
Yeah. So I guess before we begin with the bracket here, Matt, there was definitely some controversy when the bracket came out.
Yeah,
Um,
it was SEC heavy, and I am not too fond of that. I honestly hope all 14 SEC teams lose in the first round, but that's probably not going to be possible at this point.
yeah, definitely not possible. But I think a lot of people raise this stink about North Carolina getting in over West Virginia. West Virginia was a good team, and you know,
West
we said,
Virginia.
we put this. By the way, there's a commercial playing that song. I'm like, that's just brutal to do during this time where you didn't let West Virginia in the tournament.
And also, it's not even John Denver. It's a cover song.
But
make John
yeah,
Denver great again.
West Virginia had all these good wins, and they use an injury excuse, but they use an injury excuse for a player that hasn't played in the year of 2025. And they picked up several quality wins since he's been out. So it did not make sense. And that's typically the situation where, we have a bunch of people that aren't paying attention to all the games, aren't really paying full attention, and then all of a sudden we put them in the room and have them make decisions that impact everyone.
Are we not so
and
certain that the same people making the college football playoff are the same people picking the tournament at this point?
I mean, it kind of is, because we continue to have sitting athletic directors and presidents on these committees. So, I mean, not the same exact people, but certainly very similar people. They either don't have the time or just don't care to pay attention to what's going on. And then we sit them in the room and we have to make decisions.
I forgot to show off my shirt. It says, "Ask me about Updog." Shout out to my aunt who gave it to me for Christmas, and forgot to wear it on the program until now. So excited about this shirt. Sorry, Justin, for interrupting. I have ADHD. I will probably do it again.
Yes, this happens. This happens often, but we continue, we adjust, and we continue on. But like we have this committee that is not paying attention to the entire sport, and then they go into a room, make decisions, kind of just based on whatever they want to make decisions on, and then ESPN lobs up, or ESPN or whoever lobs up softball questions, and then they get half-baked responses to them. That's basically what we end up with. But in general, I don't know if we're even properly evaluating the situation when it comes to, mid-majors. We're seeing less of them in the tournament. And it's not because of mid-major performance. It's because of how we're evaluating teams. Power Fives are progressively continuing to schedule in ways that starve them of bids. The mid-majors they do play are usually towards the bottom of their respective conferences. So, generally they don't have a shot. And then even when they do play a mid-major, it is always at their home site. So, like, these teams in the tournament are facing their most advantageous possible situation that they've had against Power Five all year. We have 14 of the mid-majors in this tournament playing a Power Five team for the first time on a neutral site. Every time they've played a Power Five team, they have played them on the road. So that's one thing. And then also 3 of them, High Point, UC San Diego, and Akron, who we'll mention are really good teams, couldn't even get bought. They couldn't even be bought for a Power 5 game this year. So it's just very interesting how the scheduling goes. And no one seems to want to address it. And obviously, the net situation is just something else, too, because it's very arbitrary rankings. And, Q3 is the third quadrant has like a range of over like 100 something teams. So like the teams in the top of that quadrant are a lot different than the ones that are. And of course,
but okay, finish your thought, because I know people didn't come here for this. I know they came here to watch us pick.
Yes. So the last point, using metrics. Why is ESPN's BPI included in this? Why is this in the formula? It's annoying that it even exists. It's so bad. And then they use it for this too. Can't do that. Anyways, more positive conversation. It's time to dive into the bracket.
And to kick off our 2025 March Madness bracket, we are going to start in the South region. Justin, number 1 Auburn versus number 16 Alabama State.
There are some saying that Alabama State is due. We're not going to make such bold proclamations.
They are 9-1 in their last 10 games.
That is true. But yeah, this is a 1 versus 16 seed. If it happens, awesome. We're not going to pick it. Let's go with Auburn.
Auburn it is. I'm not going to debate you on that one. Up next, number 8, Louisville. Number 9, Creighton. Who you got?
This is an interesting game because I don't think either one of these teams is happy where they ended up here. It feels like both of them are underseeded. Creighton just went to the Big East championship game.
Yeah.
9 seed for them just feels really low. But then you get a Louisville team that probably should have been on the 6 line. And now what are they doing down here at 8? It makes no sense. But at the same time, Louisville has one thing to their advantage. This region here, this quadrant of 4 games is being played in Lexington, only a couple hours down the road from Louisville. So Louisville basically they're going to have an advantage in terms of the fans in the stands for this. Home court advantage almost. That makes, in a tight game like this, that makes me want to go Louisville for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Not looking great so far because we're in agreement on an entire next round matchup. But yeah, Auburn versus Louisville. That's gonna be a good matchup. Next up, we have number 5, Michigan versus number 12, UC San Diego. Justin, who you got?
Man, this is a tough one because, there's one huge advantage here that I think a lot of people saw it right away. For one, these are 2 top 30 teams playing here in the first round. That's kind of UC San Diego is way underseeded. They are a very good team. One of the big matchup advantages here is that Michigan turns the ball over a lot, and UC San Diego thrives on turnovers. That's going to be one interesting thing to watch. But Michigan also has a size advantage. I've noticed that a lot of people have been picking this upset, and I feel like the popular upset is not the one that happens. So I've got Michigan here.
I disagree with you. I am so happy to say this. So the 5 versus 12 matchup used to be let's see which 4 of these games ends up being the upset. And that upset region has now moved to the 6-11 matchup. However, UC San Diego has a really good defense. They only give up 61 points per game, Justin. I am gonna bet the over on Michigan there, but I don't know. They got a really good defense, and Michigan has 2 guys that are game time decisions. I gotta go.
Those guys are going to play.
I still gotta go UC San Diego. I think they can make a little bit of a run here. They got a really good defense.
I'm still thinking Michigan just because they have the size inside. Dusty May has been here before, knows how to win in the tournament. There's that factor. UC San Diego's new to the tournament. I'll also drop this bag of knowledge here. UC San Diego is making their first tournament appearance. Teams making their first tournament appearance.
Justin,
those appearances.
You froze for a second.
Oh no. Okay. Teams, and where did I leave off?
Teams.
Okay. Teams that are making their first tournament appearance in the 11 or 12 seed line are winless in those games.
All right. You have done enough, and I will concede. We'll pick Michigan.
Unfortunately, I really hope I'm wrong.
Next up, we have in the South seed or South region, we have Texas A&M versus Yale. Justin, do you think Yale can pull off the upset here?
There's a shot. There's definitely a shot. Texas A&M is a team that can definitely get cold for stretches and offensively. And if we see that happen for them, you better bet that Yale is going to be there to take advantage. And these are guys that have been here before. They lost a couple players to transfer, but you know, despite that, this is still as good or even better Yale team. The big question is though, how can they handle the rebounding advantage that Texas A&M has? Texas A&M is a very good rebounding team, and that can kind of help offset their cold shooting.
Yeah,
I gotta go with the Aggies.
Their cold shooting ranks them 330th in field goal percentage, 322nd in 3-point percentage, and 271st in free throw percentage. Whereas Yale is 11th in field goal percentage and 7th in 3-point shooting, 137th in free throw.
And let's talk about Texas A&M's last 7 games. They are 2-5 of those in those games. One of those wins is over Auburn.
Yeah, that's super random. I want to go Yale here. I mean, the stats scream it. I picked Texas A&M coming into this, but a lot of the stats point to Yale upsetting here.
You know what? Let's go with one. Let's pick an upset here. Let's go with the Yale Bulldogs.
Next up, we have Ole Miss versus first 4 North Carolina.
Yeah, so this one is very interesting because Ole Miss's coach, Chris Beard, I don't believe has ever lost a first-round tournament game. So he knows how to coach in the tournament. They have a lot of athletic players, but the downside is that unlike previous Chris Beard teams, this Ole Miss team just stinks at rebounding. If they don't shoot it well, they're in a lot of trouble here, especially against a North Carolina team that was just dumped on for 2 days and very clearly had enough of hearing it.
Yeah, I gotta go with North Carolina. They're not only were they themselves viewed themselves as a team that didn't deserve to be in the first 4. They thought they should have been in the tournament. They played the first 4, blew out San Diego State, and then they have their barrel right at Ole Miss here. Plus 6 versus 11, upset city.
And also, like, say what you want about Hubert Davis with how he's done in the regular season, but man, when he gets his team to the tournament, they do well.
Yeah. Next up, we have Iowa State, number 3 seed, versus 14 seed Lipscomb. Justin, can Lipscomb pull off the upset?
So they know how to slow down the pace. That's one thing you want to see out of a mid-major team if they want to pull off the upset. That's one thing they do well. They also shoot threes well. So there's a chance, but the only downside is in their other matchups against tougher teams this year, Lipscomb found themselves overwhelmed pretty quickly. That's not saying they don't have a chance. They do, but I'm not going to be bold enough to pick that one.
Me neither. Plus, Gilbert is out for the tournament, but Lipsy is back.
Yeah.
So they do have a player
I still
out.
think.
So I'm just gonna go Iowa State. Marquette, number 7 seed, versus the 10 seed New Mexico. Justin, New Mexico's got to win, right?
What the hell do we do here? Neither one of these coaches has a good tournament history at all. Shaka Smart has had very little tournament success since the Final Four run at VCU. But at the very least, he went on an okay run with Marquette last year. I believe they went to the Sweet 16, if memory serves me right. New Mexico, on the other hand, awesome team. But really awesome team in the regular season. But we've seen this before. It seems like the Mountain West is cursed, to be honest. Like, it really does. Like, the tournament setting is a lot different than anything you see in the regular season. And I hate that the narrative continues to form around the Mountain West because these teams do play good basketball, but just something always goes wrong for them in the tournament lately. And as a result, like I think we have to pick against the Mountain West until proven otherwise.
I agree. However, Marquette just seems like one of those upsettable teams.
And by the way, I think one last thing here. Tens over sevens. I feel like a lot of people want to go with that. It doesn't happen as often as you think. 11 over 6 has been more common than 10 over 7.
Yeah. 11 over 6 is the new 12 over 5. So, but the last one in the first round, yeah. Number 2 seed, Michigan State versus number 15
Wait. Just to make this clear for the viewer, that we picked Marquette here?
Yeah, we picked Marquette. Against our will, we picked Marquette.
Yes.
But Michigan State versus Bryant. Can the 2 seed win here?
Well, I would expect so. I like.
I don't know.
So
15 seeds coming on strong.
We've had a 15 seed reach the Sweet 16 3 of the last 4 years, which is nuts. Because like a decade ago, this was something that was unprecedented. That fact aside, until we see it maybe 5 to 6 years, I'm not going to be willing to pick a 15 seed in the bracket. Bryant is an interesting team, though. They are built with a lot of power conference transfers. They have a lot of size. They're not going to be bothered by Michigan State at that aspect. But oh no, one of us froze. Is it you this time?
No, neither of us are frozen.
Oh, okay. Well, Bryant is, they're not going to be bothered size-wise, but they do run at a bit of a chaotic pace, which could hurt them in this game.
Yeah. So Michigan State.
Yes.
How we're going to go is we're going to go round 1, round 2, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, then move on to the next region. So we're going to just stay here, talk about these teams. Stay with us.
Correct. We are going to remain in the South region until we picked our Final 4 participant from this region.
Moving back up to the top, we have the number 1 Auburn Tigers.
Uh-oh.
I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was the one that was frozen that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, home field advantage here for Louisville. Auburn has backslid defensively the last few games. Do I sniff an upset here?
I didn't realize this. I didn't think I saw it on the report yesterday, but Louisville has 4 players out.
They do. But despite this, Louisville did make a run to the ACC championship.
I'm still gonna go Auburn. Auburn's a powerhouse right now.
Yeah. All right, I'm not gonna fight you too hard on that one.
All right, because we chose this to happen. Number 5 Michigan versus number 13 Yale.
Oh gosh, this is gonna be a Michigan Sweet 16 run that I absolutely hate. Unfortunately,
pull it off.
No. Usually Yale can be good for a game, but probably not 2. Also, Michigan, each time they've reached the tournament, and I missed how many years in a row it is, but each time they've reached the tournament, they made the Sweet 16 at a minimum.
All right, well, changes my bracket.
And Yale beating Texas A&M is like the perfect scenario for that to happen.
Yeah. Number 3 Iowa State versus number 11 North Carolina. Can North Carolina continue their run here?
I mean, with Iowa State being without Gilbert, that's been a key injury for them. Like Iowa State was a team that really had a shot to win it all at one point, but with that injury, I think North Carolina has a shot here. I like North Carolina to win this one.
I actually do too. I didn't have it on my bracket that I filled out a few days ago, but man, North Carolina looks like they got a cakewalk here. Number 2, Michigan State versus number 7, Marquette. The battle of the mms.
Yeah, a revenge shot here for Shaka Smart. A few years ago, the seeds were flipped. Marquette was a 2, Michigan State was a 7. Michigan State won that game. I also think Michigan State wins this game.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think this was Marquette's year.
January, February is
out. January, February, not Marquette.
Marquette's fun to say. I want them to be good.
Yeah, I know. I want them to win too. Number 1, Auburn versus number 5, Michigan in the Sweet 16. Can Michigan make it an Elite 8?
No, this is the point where we finally now that they made the Sweet 16, we can draw the line and eliminate them.
Yeah, I agree. Their first true test of the tournament. North Carolina, number 11 seed versus number 2 seed Michigan State. Can the Sparties lose to the Tar Heels?
So this is where it gets interesting in terms of like picking our bracket here, because Michigan State is a team that started the season unranked in preseason. Teams that fit the profile of starting the season unranked and becoming a 1 or 2 seed are 0-37 on making the Final Four. So we do have to eliminate Michigan State at some point.
I actually was thinking about moving on North Carolina. So
and maybe this will. I think this may convince me here that maybe we could go to North Carolina. So they met earlier this year in the Valley Invitational. Michigan State survived in overtime, 94-91. I think North Carolina, it's a shot again.
I know. This is ridiculous, dude. What a run. Who would have thought an 11 seed? Who would have thought that North Carolina would have gotten an 11 seed, first of all? Second of all, who would have thought that 11 seed like this would have had a run in this region? And then finally, to go to the Final Four, number 1 Auburn versus number 11 North Carolina. Are we doing it? Are we sending the Tar Heels to, where are they playing this year? Final Four?
They're playing in San Antonio.
San Antonio. Okay. Can we send them down to Texas?
I'm thinking about it actually, because I don't want to pick all. We know we don't want to pick all 1 seeds. We'll touch on a few of them later on, but there's some 1 seeds that are going to be very hard to pick against.
Auburn just has a better defense. They have around the same points per game on offense.
Yeah.
And ranked relatively near each other in most other categories. So, I don't know. I think Auburn
they too played earlier this. Why is the entire Maui Invitational in this region? So the day before North Carolina played Michigan State, they played Auburn. It was one of those games where Auburn just kind of had control of it the whole way and won 85-72.
That's enough for me to just say Auburn's got their number.
Okay. By the way, 3rd seed Iowa State was also in the Maui Invitational.
That concludes the South. Auburn, congratulations. You represent the South in the Final Four in San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
Moving on down the bracket, we're going to the West.
Heading west.
Heading west, but down the bracket. Number 1 Florida versus number 16 Norfolk State. Justin.
So
Do we have an upset? Do we have an upset?
No, not against this Florida team. But unfortunately, like this, so this is where my gripe with the committee begins again, because they very clearly looked at Norfolk State and said, "Oh, this is an HBCU, so we'll just slide them at 16 and call it a day." They did no research into what this Norfolk State team has done. They beat High Point this year. High Point ended up being a 13 seed. Beat James Madison. James Madison, had they made a tournament, probably would have been a 13 or 14. And overall, like only lost 7, 8 games. Norfolk State, at the very least, should have been on the 15 line. So they are criminally underseeded here, and the reward for it is going up against the hottest team in the country.
Yeah. Justin, number 8, UConn versus number 9, Oklahoma, where the wind comes rolling down the plain.
So when this bracket came out, I was all in on UConn for this. I have flipped the other direction on this game.
Whoa.
First of all, teams with a losing conference record actually do tend to win in the first round for some reason. One of those stats that's kind of frustrating, inconvenient, but it's a real thing. And also, UConn is winless in all of their recent tournament appearances when below a 4 seed.
9/8. It's pretty popular.
Yeah, I'm also looking at these other 8-9 matchups, and I'm like, this is probably one of the best opportunities to do one.
Yeah, I was on the fence about this one. Like, this isn't the same UConn team that played both the past 2 years. Last year, everyone did think that they were going to make a big run, but like they didn't. They kind of had a little bit of a backslide this year. Everyone is healthy for both teams. I think it's going to come down to free throws, and Oklahoma's just better at them.
Yeah, and now don't get me wrong. I mean, UConn's very dangerous. They could really blow this thing up. Like, if you're Florida and you're the 1 seed, you are not happy about the 2-time defending champs being the 8 seed in your region.
Yeah.
But that being said, I feel like Oklahoma might be the choice here.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to fight you, but we do have the coin flip just in case.
Yeah, I'm impressed. We have not had to do that so
far. I know. I thought there was going to be a lot more coin flips. Then we have the number 5 Memphis Tigers versus the number 12 Colorado State Rams. Justin?
So
Memphis is missing 2 guards.
Yeah. Hunter is one of their best players. That hurts. The one good thing for Memphis is if they can get past this one, it sounds like Hunter can make his way back to the next game.
Yeah.
So can they survive this one is the big question. Colorado State is a very tough opponent to get. And this is the beauty of what conference tournaments can do, because Colorado State, they kind of lost some guys from last year's team that destroyed Virginia in the first 4. They had to replace those guys. Started out the season slow, 5-5, and that unfortunately 10 games in eliminated them from the at-large conversation, which kind of sucks. But conference tournament gave them a chance to redeem themselves, because they ended the year looking like an at-large team, and then they ended up proving it by winning the conference tournament.
Yeah, and they have a really good defense. Teams don't score a ton of points on them.
Yeah, which is going to frustrate Memphis because they want to run. What's interesting is Vegas has Colorado State favored. This is the first time a 12 seed has been favored over a 5 since 2017, when Mid-10 State was favored over a 5 seed Minnesota, and Mid-10 State won by 11. I did find out the stat around this one because I've been looking for it all week. The 12 seed, of those 7 games, the 12 seed has won 4 times when being favored. What do you want to do with that?
All time?
Yeah, so all time there's been 7 occasions where the 12 seed has been favored over the 5. and the 12C won 4 of those times.
I mean, with the injuries and the defense, I'm thinking Colorado State.
Yeah, and not trying to get too far ahead here, but we did not pick UC San Diego over Michigan, and we'll break it down later. But I don't like the other 5-12, so we're going to pick a 5-12. This is the one to pick.
Yeah. Moving down the bracket, number 4, Maryland. Mary had a fairy named Larryland. Versus Grand Canyon University. Who we got?
Yeah. So this is a fun one here. We got the Crab Five. That's what they call Maryland's starting lineup. They are the highest scoring starting 5 in the entire country. Now, why is that? Because Maryland, those 5 basically play the whole game. Maryland does not have any depth. But those 5 are spectacular. It's very weird when you see a game like this, like Grand Canyon actually has more depth than Maryland does. Grand Canyon, everyone remembers they upset St. Mary's last year in the tournament. It hasn't been quite the same ride for them this year, even though they returned a lot of key guys. Grant Foster is Grand Canyon's best player. He's been battling injuries all year. He played 29 minutes in the WAC championship. So maybe that's a sign that he's good to go. I hope. One other thing that helps Grand Canyon is this game is in Seattle. So there's going to be a lot more Grand Canyon fans here than Maryland fans. That being said, I can't go against a Crab 5 here.
Me neither. I don't think 13 over 4 happens very often either. So
it's not frequent. Like, it's a very interesting thing because if you want to bet on the game, you can bet on a 13 to cover. 13s are very good at covering. They're not great at actually coming out with a win.
Yeah. Moving on to the one that I've been wanting to talk about the whole time. Number 6 Mizzou versus number 11 Drake. Justin, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I hate this one. No.
Drake took their Division II team. Took the coach, took pretty much the entire team, imported them into this wonderful basketball program. Well, now wonderful basketball program. And they have an okay offense, but they have a really good defense and a slow-paced offense. This is the perfect storm. I'm waiting for you to say something.
Yeah, we had a freezing issue again. Anyways, it does feel like that, but I hate this matchup. I hate this game. Missouri is, I think, the toughest 6 seed of all the 6 seeds. They actually probably should have been a 5. Drake should have also been higher than an 11. Again, my gripe with the committee here is with this 11 seed. Like, are they saying Drake win the May tournament if they didn't win the Missouri Valley because they only lost 3 games? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And with key non-conference wins, by the way. So this Drake team is really good, but Missouri's really good too. I mean, we're looking at like a top 25 matchup here in the first round. Missouri is a team that rebounds really well. They have a great offense. Their one weakness is their defense isn't great at times. So Drake is going to need to be able to score and to keep up with them. This one's tough. I want to lean Missouri just because it feels like the public is on Drake.
Their best player is a game time decision, Justin. Missouri's is.
He's playing.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to throw that out there.
This is the
I'm going to die on the
tournament.
Drake Hill. I'm going to die on the Drake Hill. I am not moving off of this pick.
I think this is the time we bring the coin.
I am using Google's Flip a Coin simulator. Heads, I mean, it's 6 and 11, so heads and tails. It makes it kind of easy that way.
Yeah, heads is the higher seed, tails is the lower seed.
Heads. Well, when you're wrong,
Hey, I hope I'm wrong. I want to see this Drake team go.
when you're
I want to.
wrong, you can tear up our bracket at the same time.
I will gladly do that. I
Number
want to be wrong
3,
about that game.
Texas State versus.
Texas Tech.
That's what I say. Texas State.
Yeah.
Okay, my
Take
bad.
back Texas.
Tech versus UNC Wilmington.
Man, like UNC Wilmington is. I did not see them as a 14 seed.
No, they got a bad draw.
They are a really good 14 seed. They are great on defense. They can shoot threes pretty well. Now 2-point might be a little bit more of a struggle, but Texas Tech, on the other hand, also with a great defense. But the main thing that's been different for Texas Tech compared to their coach's previous teams is like they could score too. This Texas Tech team is probably too good, but man, UNC Wilmington they're a team I like. I hate the draw they got.
Yeah, Texas Tech. I mean, sucks for UNC Wilmington. Hope they win. I hope every low seed win or high seed win. However you want to look at it, the number that is greater than the smaller number. I hope those teams wins. Next, probably our favorite matchup, Kansas versus Arkansas.
The winner decides the proper way.
I don't know. I almost had to flip a coin myself on this. I think Kansas, just because Kansas is always gonna do decent, even as a 7 seed. They really disappointed this year, though.
Yeah,
they're terrible at shooting free throws.
It was so interesting to look at this one, and honestly, like this is one of the hardest games to pick. But if I were to peek ahead here at the rest of the bracket, I do think if we want to pick a 10/7, this is probably the 10 we have to pick.
Yeah, they score about the same amount of points. They score kind of around this, or give up kind of around the same amount of points. Kansas gives up 2 less points than Arkansas. But it's about the same. And then pretty much they're both bad at a lot of things.
It'll be interesting.
So who are we going with? Arkansas?
Yeah, I think we go with Arkansas on this one.
And then next we have number 2, St. John's versus number 15, Omaha. Justin.
The trash can destroying Omaha Madness.
Yeah.
This team is, gosh, this team's so much fun.
I do not like their draw. I
really have enjoyed following their story all year. It's been so cool. Their first tournament appearance. I mean, no matter what, any of these 2 seeds would be tough. Omaha's. I mean, we're going to pick St. John's. I think we kind of hinted earlier we'd be picking all the 2 seeds, but for Omaha, their main chance is, they can shoot the 3 really well. So hit a lot of threes, avoid turnovers, because if you turn the ball over, you feed the beast. And hey, maybe something could happen. But we got St. John's in this
one. Can't argue with that. Moving on to round 2, we have number 1, Florida versus number 9, Oklahoma. Can we just chalk Florida to the next round?
I think so, but like I want to look at because they're in the same conference, so they had to have played at some point. Let's see here. When did they play? Did they play once or twice? Looks like they only played the one time. Yeah, they played. They played
Yeah,
on February 18th. Florida destroyed them.
yeah, by a lot.
I think it's safe to say we can go with Florida.
And then moving on to the 4 versus 12 matchup. Crab 5 again.
We'll ride with the Crab Five.
uh number 6 Missouri versus number 3 Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is just too strong for Missouri right now. I hate
Yeah,
to
I
pick the
agree.
higher seed each game right now, but I think this may be the region where that happens.
Yeah, I mean, we got an 11 seed going to the Elite Eight. I think we're doing pretty good at upsets. Yeah, Texas Tech is really good. Hey, now maybe this is where we can come up with the upset here because, um, St. John's. This could be Arkansas is a team that played better late. A little dangerous here as a 10 seed. Maybe we consider this one.
I don't know. I listened to Rick Pitino talk the other day, and I'm just so fired up for him. I think that he didn't start the season off how he wanted, but he ended how he wanted, and I think St. John's is going to carry his momentum. He had me wanting
Well,
to run through a brick wall with him.
we can go with St. John's.
However, Justin, can number 1 Florida lose to the Crab 5?
This is probably the point where I begin to worry that the lack of depth for the Crab Five, lack of depth behind the Crab Five, is troubling. Um, so yeah, I think Florida ends up winning here. Florida is a lot deeper,
Yeah.
and
I
I
was
mean
wanting to do Maryland, but
we did not touch on this, but Maryland's coach Kevin Willard has never made the Sweet 16 before. Um, so obviously we already were a little bold having them go that far, but yeah, we'll have to go with Florida on this one.
yeah,
And then Texas Tech and St. John's. Matt, I'm thinking Texas Tech here.
I am too. I can't argue with that. How are their how's their injuries shaking out? Are 3 of the 4 playing?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I think we're looking good there.
Okay.
Texas
Yeah.
Tech is one of those teams that can really do it all. I'm very impressed with this Red Raiders team.
I am
And
too. I actually thought they could have gotten a higher seed than a 3.
it was tough. It was tough with the 2 seeds that we had, but Texas Tech is a team that they could beat anybody.
Yeah.
And
Number 1 Florida.
mentioning that, like, we're in a position here where we don't want to put too many 1 seeds in.
I do think Texas Tech is a team that can end Florida's hot streak.
Do we do it? Do we do the upset here?
I'm down.
All right, Texas Tech to the Final Four. I mean, very few teams possess the upside to compete with Florida, but Texas Tech is definitely one of those teams.
Yeah.
We definitely had to fade St. John's. We did not get to address it a whole lot, but we had to fade St. John's because they fall into the same rule Michigan State does, where they start the season unranked, and teams that start there usually that end up a 1 or 2 seed end up missing the Final Four.
The moving over all the way to the other side of the bracket to the East region. Number 1 Duke versus number 16 Mount St. Mary's.
Yep, congratulations to Mount St. Mary's. They just polished off this victory just moments ago. So Mount St. Mary's moves on. I don't think they're going to move past Duke, though.
No, Duke is a very good basketball team.
Yeah,
There's no
but
argument.
I did like a lot of what I was seeing from Mount St. Mary's. They were a lot of fun out there tonight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Moving
We
down,
just did that. But
Mississippi
Mississippi
State
State,
versus number 9 Baylor. Justin, I'm.
this is,
I think the Baylor Bears got this.
I don't think so. Um, Baylor got really, really cold down the stretch here. And a large issue is the fact that they just cannot defend. Mississippi State has a guy in Josh Hubbard who can make it basically from anywhere. He is the engine that drives their offense. And I don't know if Baylor is going to provide much resistance against him. He is most of Mississippi State's offense, so that will be a problem down the line for them. But uh, with how Baylor's been playing lately, it's kind of hard to go with them here.
I mean, Mississippi State's lost more games recently than Baylor has.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I could go with Baylor on this one. I mean,
They
we're
have
gonna
a
have them
better
losing to
defense.
Duke in the next.
Yeah. Yeah,
well, it might be a chance for us to gain on other people just by you know. I think the majority here at Mississippi State, so
whoever wins this matchup is going to get blown out anyway. So
yeah.
number 5 Oregon versus number 12 Liberty. Oregon.
Liberty is so Liberty is a team that's very well built to pull upsets. They play at a very slow, agonizing pace. They can shoot lights out from three. I don't want to mispronounce his name, Matheny, I think it is, can hit a bucket from just about anywhere. He has Jimmer range. This Liberty team is a lot of fun, but as Matt was hinting here, Oregon was a terrible, terrible draw. Oregon is automatic in first round games. You just close your eyes, pick the Ducks, and move on.
Yeah. Number 4 Arizona versus number 3 Akron. Dude,
13.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Can the Akron Zips pull off the upset?
I don't. It's tough. Akron shoots the three very well. That's gonna give them a shot. It does not help that Akron has to go all the way across the country. This is definitely regionally a better spot for Arizona than Akron. And Arizona likes to run at pace, which Akron's offense kind of allows. I don't think we want Akron playing the same pace as Arizona.
No. Arizona is a good basketball team. Caleb Love is one of the best basketball players in the country.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. He's a very because he'll have his bad games, and that's kind of what teams want to try to force with him. Like they want to try to force him to have a bad game, and it's possible if he has a bad game, then Akron certainly is a shot. But I'm not going to bet on it here.
And I am picking solo on this one. So number 6 BYU versus number 11 VCU. 11 over 6, got to do it. VCU, really good defense. BYU, high scoring, but I don't know. VCU's got a squad.
Yeah, I've enjoyed watching this team all year. Obviously, my wife used to, when she worked in the high school setting, she worked with one of the athletes on the team. So that is why I've recused myself from any VCU discussions out of trying to be unbiased towards teams that we are picking. But
don't worry, Justin, I'll be biased for you, buddy. That doesn't discredit BYU. BYU is a good basketball team, but VCU, they have a really good defense. That's hard to get around. Moving on, we have number 3 Wisconsin versus number 14 Montana Grizz. You're wearing the shirt, Justin. Will it happen?
I wish it will. I'm rooting for it to happen. Wisconsin's very funny. So they have had their tournament struggles lately. mainly because they ran a slow and plodding offense and didn't rebound the ball well. This year they changed up a little bit. They decided, you know what, we're going to be aggressive on offense, and they are. They love to shoot threes. They do a good job hitting them, but they also still don't rebound the ball well. So at some point, I think their lack
But
of ability to rebound
Justin,
is going to cost them.
they don't miss.
Yeah,
50.2% field goal percentage. That's insane.
yeah, and Montana wants to go and kind of run themselves. I think Montana's going to put up a fight here, but ultimately, I think Wisconsin finds a way to pull it off.
Number 7, St. Mary's. Number 10, Vanderbilt. Tens don't really beat sevens. St. Mary's is a good basketball team. Vanderbilt, stick to baseball. But good thing you
Vanderbilt's
made the
gotten
tournament.
pulled down the stretch as well, so that's definitely a factor. And in general, it's been a long time since Vanderbilt's won a tournament game.
Yep.
We'll get to the next round, but St. Mary's has been a while since they made the Sweet 16. Yeah, we'll go with St. Mary's in this one.
Number 1, Duke versus number 9, Baylor.
Wait. We did go to the last game.
Oh, Alabama versus Robert Morris.
Alabama versus Bobby Moe, or as their jerseys were at one point this year, Alabama versus Morris Robert. Yeah, obviously, we mentioned we were going to pick all the 2 seats. That's what we're doing here. Robert Morris has been a pretty good squad this year, though. They've been a lot of fun to watch. They could certainly put up a fight, but Alabama's just very, very upset proof with the fast style pace they play and the talent they have. They're pretty deep. They overwhelm teams. And that's going to be tough for Robert Morris to keep up with the whole game.
Yeah. Now, number 1, Duke versus number 9, Baylor. I think we said it before, Duke's going to keep it rolling.
Yep. And I mean, really, just to preface this, because I think you're going to be disappointed at the lack of upsets in this region. This region felt like it was crafted to get a Duke Alabama final. It really does. So yeah, we have Duke moving on. Baylor does not have the defense to keep up. Oregon, Arizona. Dana Altman knows how to get his Ducks to the Sweet 16. I'm thinking Oregon here. And also,
do agree.
Fine. I'll throw my stat out anyways. Arizona's coach has not. Tommy Lloyd is yet to beat a team seeded better than I think it was a 7 or 6. So there's that as well.
Number 3 was Wisconsin versus number 11 VCU. Justin is going to defer to me yet again. I think Wisconsin's a little too strong for VCU. As much as I want to pick VCU, 82% free throw percentage, even if VCU keeps it close.
Yeah.
Number 2, Alabama versus number 7, St. Mary's. Alabama might have the best. They definitely have the highest scoring offense in all of college basketball.
Yeah, this is the kind of game. St. Mary's has a good defense, but this is the kind of game where their defense could get exposed a little bit. It's going to be tough to keep up with that pace.
Yeah. Justin said it was mainly chalk, so Duke over Oregon, Alabama over Wisconsin. So
yeah, we kind of hinted that already. That being said, though, if anything's going to disrupt that Duke Alabama matchup, I am looking at Oregon. I'm looking at the Ducks to potentially do it, because not only did Oregon beat Alabama earlier this year.
Yeah.
And then this is Duke and Alabama is definitely going to be quite the showdown. I think this is finally the point where we've talked about Alabama's offense a lot when advancing them. I think this is finally the point where we start to see Alabama's defense become an issue.
Yeah.
Duke is just a very well-rounded team. I mean, we saw that when they won the ACC tournament without their best player, Cooper Flag. Duke is a tough team this year.
Yeah, and Alabama gives up a lot of points also. So I think one of the higher, they have one of the higher point totals given up among teams in the entire tournament. So I agree. Cooper Flag, best player in the country, number 1 overall pick, gonna get them to the Final Four. Heading on down.
Although he is very welcome to come back to college basketball one more year, transfer to Maine, get the Black Bears, get his hometown Black Bears with his brother into the tournament for the first time ever. Yeah. Come on, Cooper Flag, do it.
Number 1 Houston versus number 16 Sioux.
So SIU Edwardsville is very funny because this is one of the funniest sounding teams because they're like a branch campus of a branch campus. Shout out to them making the tournament for the first time. Houston is a brutal draw because they are just simply a mid-major killer. We have to go with the Cougars in this one, obviously, but
yeah.
Congratulations to SIU Edwardsville making their first tournament appearance.
Number 8 Gonzaga, number 9 Georgia. I mean, Gonzaga knows how to play in tournaments.
Yeah. So Gonzaga
they don't care how they get there. If they get there, they're doing it.
Yeah. So let me look this up real quick. Because I wanted to get the stat right. Because they have made the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament in the last, I think, 8 years. Let's see. It has been. Oh no, I'm wrong. It's the last 9 tournament appearances they made the Sweet 16.
Yeah. So
ever since 2015.
Yeah, they just know how to win it come tournament time. So we'll move them on to face Houston. Number 5 Clemson, number 12 McNeese State. McNeese State's head coach decided that he wants to announce prior to the game, one day before the game, that he's leaving. Does that affect?
I mean, it's probably more of NC State insiders probably getting very excited about their new coach, probably leaking it out. But now the question is, I mean, on one hand, it's not over their head anymore. Is he leaving? Is he not leaving? No, we know he's leaving. This is the last ride. Or, is the team not going to be ready for this? That's going to be a very interesting question for how this goes. Regardless, I think it's another tough circumstance. Add on top of this is a tough Clemson squad they're going against. McNeese is very deep. They can shoot threes when they want to. They play very tough defense, but Clemson is just so good on rebounding. They are good at defense themselves. Clemson's just a very tough 5 to get.
Yeah, and 12 over 5
I did not
just
care
doesn't
for that
happen.
matchup.
12 over 5 just doesn't happen that often anymore. So
yeah,
you can just move Clemson on over. Number 4 Purdue, number 13 High Point. Justin, can the 13 seed beat the 4?
High Point is a very good shot. They have a tremendous offense. They're a lot of fun to see play. They are extremely deep also. So depth will not be an issue here for High Point. Purdue is they're very much like a watered down version of what they had last year. Purdue doesn't have Zach Edey anymore. Their amazing run of recruiting ridiculously tall guys has somehow ended. They are quite the same, but at the same time, I just don't think High Point is good enough on the defensive end to get them past this tough of a matchup.
Yeah. Um, we have number 6, Illinois, and Texas Xavier plays in 5 minutes. So we don't know exactly who Illinois is gonna play. I don't see either team actually beating Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you there. I don't think either one of them really is positioned to do it. I mean, they could. Don't get me wrong, because Illinois has been very up and down all year long. Their head coach kind of overcame some NCAA tournament struggles. Illinois had been disappointing in recent years, but then last year they overcame that with the Elite Eight run. Obviously, that ended against the wagon of the UConn team in that infamous 30-0 run. But I mean,
Infamous.
infamous. I know I messed it up. But yeah, I got Illinois moving on.
Number 3, Kentucky. Number 14, Troy. Kentucky's a wagon.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky can struggle in the defensive end, can struggle with rebounds. They're a little too reliant on the three. So we could see that cost the Wildcats down the line. Troy is a pretty good defensive team, but obviously this is a tough one here. They're going to need Kentucky to be cold shooting. Troy is going to need to get hot themselves. They need to have their Jack Golke in the mix show up and have a big game in order to beat them. I don't know if it can happen this many times in a row. I got to go with Kentucky as well.
Number 7, UCLA. Number 10, Utah State. Mick Cronin. He has really good defenses. Utah State has a good offense.
Yeah, Utah State has a lot of the squad that went to the tournament last year, won a tournament game before bowing out against Purdue. So, I mean, this is a very good Utah State squad. I felt like they kind of got underseeded a little bit. Unfortunately, again, like it's just kind of hard to not fade them out West here. And it doesn't help that they're going up against a UCLA team that's pretty good.
Yeah.
UCLA went through an adventure this year. At one point during the year, they kind of had like a mid-season collapse. Mick Cronin was angry at press conferences for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then kind of quietly, like his press conferences kind of disappeared from national media, and they kind of quietly got better and really improved as the year went on. Also, finally, Mick Cronin has at least made the Sweet 16 every time he's gone UCLA to the tournament.
Yeah, and he did pretty well with UC also, so he has tournament experience. Got to move him on. Number 2, Tennessee. Number 15, Wofford.
Wofford with the underhanded foul shooting hero. Wofford's a team that very much has improved as the year has gone on. Just a cohesive group that has played ball really well down the stretch, especially in the conference tournament. They are pretty tough on the defensive side as well. I like this team a lot, but again, it's hard to pick a 15 over a 2.
Yes. Tennessee moves on. Number 1, Houston. Number 8, Gonzaga. Dude, Zag's got to beat him, right?
I'm thinking let's shake things up. We were all chalk in the first round, so that means the second round has to be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a ridiculous draw here because, like, if you were to look at metric ratings, the metrics say that these are 2 top 10 teams. This is a rough draw for Houston. Houston got by far the worst draw of any 1 seed.
Yeah, and of all the 1 seeds, I wanted Houston to win. They don't make it far here. Gonzaga, in their own right, they play like a 1 seed when they come into these tournaments.
Yeah, this is very much like that Kentucky Wichita State game where it was undefeated Wichita State versus a Kentucky team that probably should be like 4 seeds higher. This is kind of what this game feels like.
Yeah. Number 5, Clemson. Number 4, Purdue. Upset City.
Yeah, I'm thinking Clemson here. I don't think Purdue goes super far, but I like this Clemson team and what they can do. I think the Tigers are dangerous.
Um, number 6, Illinois. Number 3, Kentucky. I think Kentucky can still keep it rolling. As much as I want to pick Illinois, I think Kentucky can do it.
Yeah, I mean, don't rule it out. It's just like I can't even fully convince myself that it's safe to pick Illinois out of the first game. But at the like Illinois could easily win this one too. Neither coach has a particularly good tournament history, so it's up in the air. Either one of them can really win that one.
And up next, the number 2 Tennessee Volunteers versus the number 7 UCLA Bruins. The battle of the defenses, Justin. That being said, I got to go with Tennessee.
I mean, defense is what holds Tennessee back. I mean, offense, sorry. Offense is what holds Tennessee back. That's what I meant to say the whole time. But yeah, offense is what holds Tennessee back. I know it kind of holds UCLA back, but man, I mean, Mick Cronin has been very good at getting his teams to Sweet 16. We've been seeing Tennessee get hotter. You know, they finally Rick Barnes got them to the Elite Eight last year, but otherwise has mostly underachieved in the tournament. I could see UCLA winning this one.
Mick Cronin is someone I don't like. If you could have just said tournament Mick Cronin, and I would have just changed my mind. I really wasn't dead set on Tennessee anyway. They have a slightly better defense and around the same kind of offense as UCLA.
Yeah.
But they're streakier than UCLA. UCLA likes to just get in there slowly and score. They pass a lot. Gonzaga, number 8 versus number 5 Clemson. I gotta keep it rolling with Gonzaga.
Ooh, I don't know. Like, I kind of like Clemson too.
I do like Clemson, but dude, Gonzaga's offense is way better than Clemson's.
Yeah, but I mean, the big thing is though, I think Clemson can keep this close. I don't know if I trust because Gonzaga's close game execution has been really their big problem.
Yeah, but it's tournament Gonzaga. Regular season Gonzaga doesn't matter as long as they make it here. There's a 10-point difference in offense.
Okay, we can go with Gonzaga on this one.
Number 3, Kentucky. Number 7, UCLA.
This is where I think being 3 heavy and not rebounding well can cost Kentucky. I think at some point we draw the line with them and think they might lose.
I don't know. They got a good offense. They got a really good offense. But good offense means good defense. So I'm okay sending UCLA on. This would be a great Elite 8 game.
I know. I did not at all expect us to end up with here.
Neither did I. That's not even.
This is the region. So this region just came from like all chalk in the first round to region of chaos from beyond that point.
All right, number 8 Gonzaga versus number 7 UCLA. Really good offense meets really good defense. I got to keep it rolling with Gonzaga. At some point, Mick Cronin chokes in tournament play.
Yeah, like at some point you would have to think, okay, hang on though. Have these two played each other this year? I want to see if they played each other this year because I feel like they had to. I feel like they play each other a lot.
The West Coast teams, they would make sense.
Oh, they did. December 28th, UCLA won 65-62. I could see Gonzaga winning a rematch.
Yeah, they're coming in with the let's just show everyone up. If it was a blowout, I probably would have been like, okay, whatever. But
hey, this is a heck of a Final Four. We got So our final four now, we have Auburn, Texas Tech, Duke, and Gonzaga. Heck yes.
Wild, dude. I honestly think this is where Texas Tech can upset Auburn.
Well, you got Texas Tech over Auburn.
Yeah.
You know what? I like how you came in there with such eviction. I don't even know if that's the right word, but you were convinced immediately that this is happening. I like
Hey,
it.
I will pick the Toppin family all the time.
I think we gotta go with Duke over Gonzaga though.
I agree. And I do
And
think
then
Cooper Flag is going to be the difference maker in this, and I think Duke ends up winning.
Duke.
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 For those of you who have not ever heard that from us before, we played as Duke football in NCAA football 14, and honestly, I don't remember how it happened. We just said Duke and just have said it ever since, and it's become a thing with us. Every time Duke comes up in conversation, we just have to go Duke.
Wait. I think this is even further back. I'm pretty sure like one of us this might be back in college in like the dorm. We were playing one of us was like playing against Duke or something, and then just went like it was probably against like Duke in like a bowl game, and you just went Duke.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure like
I think I remember that. I think what I was trying to do was Duke.
and like I'm pretty sure like we were both sick, like just having our NyQuil for the night, like so we were all like high on NyQuil at the time, and like we were like, dude, it was funny to us then, and then it just continued.
Yeah. So Duke, you are the national championship or champions. Cooper Flag, you go number 1 overall. That is our bracket. Justin, we completed it. We did it.
We did it. So Matt, have you done any other brackets so far?
I did one, and I had Iowa State, Duke, St. John's, and UK, and Duke won that one as well.
Nice.
I thought about putting this together on NCAA or March Madness 2008, but the regions aren't the same, and it's harder to like now figure out which ones play each other.
It's very interesting. Like
some of these teams aren't even in the game.
I could probably look at like I could probably name a lot of the teams in the 2008 NCAA tournament just off memory now, because how many times I've had to look at that bracket to try to figure out how to align it perfectly. It's a long project that was very fun to do when we were younger. That now is harder to do as adults. But I am trying to get a coin flip bracket done before the games tip off tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. The other bracket, each year I have my wife complete a bracket. And this is very fun because I think, a lot of people's wives kind of just like, they choose their, wherever they're located, their favorite region, or, choose them off mascots or something. Mine is just completely different. Like she'll pick some on heart, like, she'll pick BCU to go. And then like sometimes if like a name kind of cracks her up, like, she likes Gonzaga, so she always has them going pretty far. Or like, Lipscomb was one that cracked her up. Like she'll pick those with no thought. But then also like I'll also see where like my influence wore off on her too. Like, she would be torn and would pick a team that like I've watched. Like so like like I spent a lot of time this year watching like Norfolk State, Utah State, New Mexico, Colorado State, UNC Wilmington, Omaha. Like I spent a lot of time watching those teams this year, and she saw that on the other TV, so I could see where that wore off, and she picked them. And then also, then there would be random times where she would just look at like a random matchup and really analyze it out of nowhere. Like she'll be like, what is their record? How have they done in their last 10 games? Like she'll ask like all these questions. And I'm like, you're really diving into this one. It's not for every game though, it's just a few. So needless to say, that landed with her final four being Michigan State, Houston, Duke, and Grand Canyon.
Nice. Great draw. My wife hasn't filled out a bracket in years, but we met slightly before the tournament many years ago, and so our third date we ended up just watching March Madness games. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Hasn't really wanted to watch college basketball ever since then, though. So she had a stake in the game back then. She doesn't anymore. She doesn't fill out a bracket. But
yeah.
Switching from basketball, little last minute housekeeping here. Trey Hendrickson, if he doesn't get a contract from the Bengals, is willing to sit out the entire season.
Ooh.
Yeah, but Bengals got their offense, so they'll be paper thin on defense. I think they can get a deal done. That looking at T. Higgins and Jamar Chase contracts, they're not big cap hits.
Yeah. That's good at least. They at least set that up pretty well.
Yeah. And I think if I'm not mistaken, this deal replaces the franchise tag, since T didn't actually sign the franchise tag yet.
Yeah, that would replace it for sure.
So yeah, that's the housekeeping that we had on the agenda. Give us a like, a subscribe, go ahead and comment on the video. Game time, gents. Sorry, popped in, said podcast brethren, and popped out. So my bad, I missed you on that. Shout out.
Salute.
Yeah, salute. But do like game time, gents. Like, subscribe, comment. We like to hear your picks too. So even if this video is after the fact, I know this is a time sensitive video, but feel free to also watch it after we're done being live.
Yeah, let us know who you picked.
Yeah, follow us on every social media app. X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. What else am I missing, Justin?
Is that all of them? I don't know.
Yeah, follow us on those 5. At Updog Sports Talk. You can listen to us the day after we go live. Typically Thursday nights, Friday mornings, we get posted on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean. Go to any of those 5 places and give us a listen if you aren't able to always catch us on YouTube. We do go live.
Excellent opportunity just to listen. Spare yourself from having to see my face. All good. All good there. Also, I mean, obviously it's a little bit easier sometimes for some people to, just plug your earbuds in, not to watch anything.
Yeah, listen to our calamity and our back and forth on any of those 5. And then there was something else. Don't remember what it was. Must have not been important, as my grandma used to say. Must have been a lie. So yeah, that's the show. Oh yeah, we go live every Wednesday at 8. So feel free to catch us on YouTube every Wednesday, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Same time, same place.
Same bat channel. For those of you who are old enough to remember those cartoons. And yeah, we will catch you next week. This time, next week's topic is a surprise. So we'll catch you next week, Wednesday, 8:00. See you guys.
Catch you on the flippity flip.
That was funny. We only got